Hey, welcome to another episode of Dad Bods and Touchdowns. I'd like to start this pod by saying our hearts are with the NASCAR families and communities after the tragic loss of former NASCAR driver Greg Biffle, his wife, and two young children in a plane crash, Statesville Airport in North Carolina. Both Greg and his wife were dedicated to helping others recently, helping with aid to the western portion of North Carolina from Hurricane Helene. They'll be deeply missed, and our hearts are out with them. Thoughts and prayers. Eric, on to week 15 in the NFL. Definitely started to separate the teams, giving a clear kind of image of how the playoff pictures were going to look. But unfortunately, along with week 15 came some injuries. But let's talk about last night's game real quick. I know we were texting a couple times back and forth during the game. Pretty wild game, actually. Seahawks are in the playoffs and take over the number one seed in the NFC with their overtime victory over the Rams in Seattle. Seattle was down 23-14, Eric, headed into the fourth quarter, came back to tie it. A 2-point conversion that we were just talking about before we started recording. You think it was questionable? I think that it was a good call. What do you think? I mean, complete downfall, obviously, of the defense of the Rams. You're going into with a pretty decent lead into the fourth, just to not just allow two touchdowns, but to allow two 2-point conversions, one which was a freak one. Tell me your view on the one that we're talking about, the 2-point conversion where Darnold threw a pass that they said was back.
So the only reason I said that is just because I don't know how many teams are smart enough to call that. You know what I mean? I don't know exactly who called it or who questioned the 2-point conversion. Shout out to whoever got the ball and picked it up. I mean, I know they thought the play was dead, but worked out for them at the end of the day. And then further, they're up, like you said, 30-14 or whatever it was. And then they get that punt return, and then it just flips the tide right away. And then they just keep going. They get a few 3-and-outs, and they're able to score a few touchdowns. I mean, you were like, Sam Darnold sucks, which he's not the best. I'm not saying no, but he was able to, at least rally the team and be able to get back in the game.
You're right. And he had some nice throws towards the back end of that game after throwing some really highly questionable, not reading the defense very well there in the third quarter and the second quarter. It was 22 for 34, 270 yards, 2 touchdowns, and 2 interceptions. Effort was 29 of 49, 157 yards passing, 3 touchdowns. I think the biggest thing is that Smith and Jigma had 0 yards in the first half. Ended up with 8 catches for 96 yards and 1 touchdown in the second half. Nakua, 12 catches, 225 yards, 2 touchdowns. Eric, you think Darnold has silenced the doubters after last night's game with the ability to take them back, not just in the fourth quarter, but also to drive them right down the field in overtime after they needed to score and needed a 2-point conversion in order to win? Think they're kind of silenced now, or do you think it's still going to come?
I mean, I'm sure it's still going to come, but I mean, looking at the matchup when we were picking this game for our picks later, I was like, the Seahawks defense is very good. They have the third best run defense and the 8th best passing defense. And I didn't really know that, I didn't think about that. And I know we're saying about Darnold, I'm sorry, but I think that the fact that he could have that mental fortitude to be able to just brush off those bad interceptions, like you said, and be able to just lock in. And then also shout out to the offensive coordinator, whoever made the adjustment to get Kubiak to get their star receiver and Jigba back in the game, because he had 1 target and 0 receptions. I mean, that's crazy to me when he's like the best receiver right now.
Well, I mean, Nakua is the best receiver in the NFL. I mean, 225 yards.
He had that one. He had that one wide open, 70 or 60-yard touchdown. I mean, he's a good receiver. Both of them are top tier receivers.
You brought up their defense, Seattle's defense, and that was actually going to be my next question to you. The Rams had 581 yards of total offense. Should the Seahawks be a little concerned with their defensive performance? Because, listen, I mean, they're going to face some teams with some high-powered offenses in the playoffs. And when I think of that, I think of like the Rams. I think of what the Bears have done. And those are 2 teams that they'll have to probably face in order to make it to the Super Bowl. And I think that both teams are capable of putting up the same amount of yards on them. I mean, Should they be concerned about that?
Yeah, I mean, I would be concerned. You know, like I was saying, you're supposed to have a good defense, but I think they can have. I don't know. When it comes to those high-powered offenses, I feel like it's always a shootout. Remember, like a few years ago, we had Kansas City and the Bills, and so on and so forth. I mean, I don't know if when it comes to those kinds of teams, it won't be a shootout, and it doesn't matter if you have a good defense or not. As far as they couldn't sack them, if you can sack them, then you can stop the pass. You know, but they couldn't. So maybe they would be worried about their pass rush. I mean, that's where I get worried with our team. You know, we can't get to the quarterback.
Right. And I mean, they did definitely had problems getting to Stafford. They did start to get after him a little bit more in that third quarter, fourth quarter.
Well, yeah, that's what I mean. They
Some
couldn't
pretty
get to
good pass
Stafford.
systems
Yeah,
and
I
making
was
it
gonna say
happen.
he's definitely gonna win MVP this year, and if he doesn't, I'm gonna be shocked. But I mean, it was a good game. Like I said last night, I'm like, this is a fun game to watch, and I enjoy a back and forth kind of game like that. I mean, you know, we're gonna talk about this soon, but I'm hoping that's what happens this Saturday night. You know what I mean? It's I'm excited.
Yeah. All right. Bad week for injuries for two major teams, both Packers and Kansas City. Parsons and Mahomes both tore their ACLs. If you look at any of the recovery times on any of that, it's 9 to 10 months, which obviously leads into next season. Micah Parsons tore his ACL, his left ACL. Obviously, a non contact play. If you're watching, he's coming off the edge and just planted it weird. Green Bay struggled with a pass rush before they made that trade. I think this is going to be a major blow to the Packers besides Micah Parsons. He hasn't scheduled surgery yet, has not have had surgery. He is actually in Texas awaiting for the birth of his child while waiting for the swelling for that knee to go down so he can have the procedure done. Where Mahomes has already had the procedure done last Monday. It has already started the rehab process to get it going. Eric, both these teams, big blows. Where do you see it taking them going into not just finishing this season out, not so much Kansas City, but the Packers, and where it leads both teams going into next season?
I th I mean, Green Bay, their whole team is injured. I mean, that's gonna be you don't wish injuries on anybody, but, you know, it happened at a weird time. And then as far as for Kansas City, I think they should rebuild, not necessarily a complete rebuild, but they need to take this time to maybe restructure their offensive line and their defense because they're not the same Kansas City team without some of the, key offensive linemen that they lost last offseason or the season.
Right. But I mean, if you're looking at the Packers situation, where they are a very good defense, obviously the Bears are going to face them again Saturday night, as we discussed. But we also got to look at the fact of they're going to go into the 2026 season without Micah Parsons and without a first round draft pick to actually look more towards an edge rusher, maybe free agency, but they spent a lot of money with Parsons. So who knows the affordability that the Packers are going to have? I mean, this is pretty costly. I think not just for this season, but also leaning to their playoff chances next season too.
Yeah, that's a good point. I know their cap is hard just because of where they are with their quarterback. The receiver room is always hurt. They're going to need a number one receiver. They try to address that with Golden or this year, but he doesn't seem to be picking it up as fast as they thought. Christian Watson's always hurt, and they have a lot of injuries, like you said, within the trenches of the offensive line. So I don't know how they can get around the cap as far as addressing it free agency. And now that with, like you said, how can you get any good picks with all your first round picks gone?
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. Um, in Miami, Tua's getting benched. Not only is he getting benched, but he's going to be the emergency quarterback. So he's not second string, he's third string in Miami. Is this a good thing for Tua? And are they using him pretty much as an scapegoat?
Yeah, they're using the release of the GM and him as the scapegoat. Irwin does not give you the best chance to win. I'm sorry, like he's not. Maybe he'll develop. I don't know, but he was a seventh round pick for a reason. And you know, how are you going to get rid of $1 million contract that he has for the next 2 years? No one's going to want to pick that up. I mean,
Right,
I don't know
right.
what they're idea, but I think that's what they're trying to do. Like you said, they're using those two things as a scapegoat. They'll get a new GM, and he'll still be there, and they'll try to draft a good quarterback. But I don't know who
See,
is
I
available this year.
disagree. I disagree with you. As I mentioned Tua, I think it sets a bad precedent to that coaching staff. I really do. I think that in the end, nobody's gonna, like you said, he's owed $99 million against the cap. All right, Tua. Nobody's picking that up. All right. I think this is a good sign that McDaniels has not just lost the confidence in his team, but I think he's lost control of the team. We've talked about it before with a new GM coming in, wants a new coach. You've got a head coach who literally is benching your $100 million man. I think that you bring in a new coach next year and see what you can do with your $100 million man. Because if not,
It's
you're
not
not going to win
happening.
next year.
It's not happening. I'm sorry. They're not getting rid of McDaniel, dude. I'm sorry. The owner loves him. They're not gonna get rid of him.
The owner can love him, but the owner will probably love to win too. And
I
with
mean,
the likes
they
of Kubiak out there as the offense coordinator for Seattle, possibly coming in and working with Tua,
Tua's
I
not the
just think
answer.
that there's a lot of good head coach candidates out there. We seen it in Chicago when they brought in Ben Johnson. What they do with Ryan Poles? They extended his contract, right? That's because you like those head coach contracts to mirror what your GM contracts are. Your GM's not gonna. You're not gonna bring in a GM on a 5-year contract and have him keep the head coach that you don't know if he really wants, and then have to turn around and sign another contract if that GM fires McDaniels the following year to mirror up that contract with the head coach. It just makes sense that you would get rid of McDaniels
That's the
so
Bear
you could have the
special,
right thing.
Chad. We know that's the Bear special. We've known to do that back in the days. I don't think that Miami will not do that. I really don't think he'll be gone. I don't think there is maybe like you said, Kubiak it could be a better choice, but that he would have to choose Miami. I think McDaniel's by far the better coach of any other coach that's out there. Besides, there could be an argument for Kubiak.
Yeah. I think Kubiak's done an outstanding job there in Seattle. I mean, you always bring Cliff Kingsbury's name up. Obviously, that would be
I do
one
not.
that
I do not bring up Kingsbury.
yes, you do.
You
When the
do.
Bears,
You.
no, when the
You
Bears were
do.
looking to hire a head coach, you brought up his name, and I said, "Hell no." We could go
I
back.
I definitely did
I'm gonna
not.
pull
I
old
said Kingsbury
podcasts.
could. But that was Justin. I'd never been a fan of Kingsbury. I said offensive coordinator when he was available. I've never been because he has 2 good years of offense, and then people figure him out, and then he can't do anything. So
No,
that
I
is
don't
false.
disagree with you.
That is
Remember, I
false.
said I did not want him at all.
You
Um,
wanted what's his name?
I would have
McCarthy.
taken
It's
McCarthy before
terrible.
it took
Garbage.
Kingsbury. I can tell you that right now, without a doubt. I'm glad we have Ben Johnson. That's what I can tell
A
you.
hundred
That's what
percent.
I
A
can say
hundred
today.
percent.
Hey, so we're headed into week 16, right? In the first 15 weeks of the season, what's been the most shocking thing to you through the NFL season?
It's tough, dude. I guess I said this before the resurgence of the Jaguars.
Gotcha.
I didn't think they were gonna be good. Drake May looking good. There's a few Tampa Bay falling off. I mean, they had everything, and then they had all those injuries, and they fell off. I don't know. It's hard for me to pick.
Yeah.
Whoa.
I mean, I could go with the simple thing of Kansas City not making the playoffs or whatever the case may be,
I
but
mean,
I'm not.
there was both to fall. I mean, after Taylor Swift got involved,
Yeah, but
we knew that was gonna
would you have
happen.
thought that they would have fallen so bad that they missed the playoffs? No, but that's not what I want to talk about. I want to talk about the man we just talked about not too long ago, Matt Stafford. Remember all the talk before the season? Oh, is he going to be able to play this season? If he does, is he going to make it through the season? That's not the right guy. They need to look for some. And there was a lot of talk, a lot of negative talk about Matthew Stafford. And I think we actually talked a little bit negative about it, talking about his age and his inability to stay healthy during the season. Here he is, an MVP candidate, second in passing yards, leading the league in touchdowns with 37 before last night's game. Before last night's game, he only threw 5 interceptions, and he leads the league with a quarterback rating of 112.2. I mean, he does now only own the third seed in the playoffs, but clearly, I think if that game's played in LA, different outcome than what you had last night. So I wouldn't venture to say that Seattle's a better team than the Rams. I think that Matthew Stafford in the Rams are a better team than Seattle. Just depends on where they play. But that's been my biggest surprise. I mean, because nobody expected this out of Matthew Stafford. Does he have the weapons around him? Absolutely. Does he have a great head coach? Absolutely. But there were so many questions about his ability to stay healthy through this season.
Well, not just that, it's the fact that, like you said that, but, like, just the fact that it was all those back injuries that they were talking about, and is like you said, like, it just how can you expect a player, a quarterback of all positions, to be able to throw or manage the pocket if he has a bad back? I didn't think he was gonna, like, have this kind of season. I don't know who did. I mean,
Right.
shout out to him for being able to sling it. I mean, he's always been a dog. We've never questioned his, like,
Toughness.
tenacity or toughness,
Yeah.
but it's just good for him. I mean, he's doing resurgence like Aaron Rodgers did when they questioned him back in the day when they were going to replace him. So, I mean, it's exciting to see. I mean, it makes for good football, and I've always liked their head coach over there. So, I mean, it's exciting. I want to see what they can do, and I like you said, I think they could beat the Seahawks if they were home as well.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. All right, we're talking about head coaches there shortly, about Sean McVay being a great head coach. A coach that I think is a Hall of Famer head coach, Pete Carroll. Is he one and done in Vegas, do you think?
I thought he was gonna be like the
Yeah,
bridge head coach to just to get the right kind of culture in the building, but with that offensive line and just the overall chemistry in that team, I don't know if they'll let him do another year. They need a lot of work, and I don't know if they have the amount of help within that year. Is what I'm trying to say. I
right.
don't know.
Yeah, I think he's done. I mean, the Raiders are 2-12 going into this week. They're going to be playing the Texans. So more than likely, they're going to be 2-13 after this week. They're last in the league in total offense, 29th in passing, last in rushing yards after drafting Ashton Genty.
It's that
And they
offensive line, man. It's
Yeah, but
terrible.
they're only averaging 14 points a game. I mean, that's a league low. They have middle of the pack defense, considering they probably have one of the league's biggest stars. So I just I can't see him sticking around, knowing that part of the ownership is with Tom Brady. Tom Brady don't like to lose and doesn't like to look bad. And this team has looked bad all year. I agree with you. The offensive line is very, very rough. But in the end, you're a total team. You're not just the offensive line, and that starts with your coaching staff.
No, yeah, I agree. I mean, who would have thought 2-12 would be tied for three teams with Titans and Giants? I mean, that first overall pick is going to be a tough battle to get, I guess.
Yeah, right. Exactly. I agree with you. All right. Let's talk about an NFC North team here, Eric. The 8-6 Lions. All right. Going into this week, they have the Steelers to play. If they lose this week, probably going to really lessen their chances. Actually, probably have no chance of making the playoffs. Is their short, successful run over, do you think, in the NFC North?
No, I mean they're going to be able to build next year. Golf still has few years in him. Gibbs is still peaking. I mean, St. Brown's top 10 receiver. Um, but it's going to be a tough matchup. The Steelers are unpredictable with Aaron Rodgers. But I mean, the positive is they are home, so they should be able to win this game. But it's going to be a tough call, regardless.
Yeah, I'd agree. I'd say no. They still have a strong team, a great coach. I believe the struggle is just growing pains. I mean, they lost both coordinators, their offensive and defensive coordinators this past season. The NFC North, to me, you have three very strong teams. Probably, we've talked about in the past, the toughest division in in the NFL. All three will be in contention of winning the North for not just this year, next year. I mean, all three of those teams have beaten the hell out of each other for the next 4 or 5 years, if not longer. Detroit's offense, like you said, still top five in the league. Third in passing, fifth in rushing, first in points per game at 30.6 points. So they're still putting up the points. They're just not stopping people from scoring a lot of points.
Well, that was
Uh,
last year too, though. Last year it was the same thing. It's just because of injuries. They got to figure out how to stop those injuries. I mean,
their
that's
secondary is really soft. I
and
do know
well, yeah,
that.
that too. But it's just it's like they get their offensive going, and then they lose three defensive players that same week or something. It's just it's not an excuse because everybody has injuries. I'm just
Yeah, I
saying.
mean, the Bears, shit, their linebacker core hasn't seen a full game together in a while.
Now our
You know what I mean?
receiver core is we have two big
Yeah.
stars off of. I mean, that's the NFL. I mean, you see that
Yeah.
everywhere. So
Yeah, absolutely. And it's how you react to it. I agree completely. All right, time to go on to our gold or fool's gold segment. Eric, Caleb Williams will pass for 4,000 yards this season. Gold or fool's gold?
I'll go gold. I know many people will say no, but I feel like that's a record that he has for himself, and he's going to try to push for it. And if I was a betting man, which I am, I would put a lot of money on over 300 yards passing for the Bears this week.
All right. Well, as much as I bleed that blue and orange, I'm going to say it's fool's gold, Eric. The last 3 games they face one top 10 defense, and that's this Saturday night. I don't think he throws for 300 yards this weekend. I think you're going to see a lot of the run game like you've seen against Cleveland and like you've seen against Philadelphia, because they don't have to account so much for Micah Parsons like they would have in the past. So now that blocking scheme's going to be that much more effective. And that and the simple fact that we're missing Rome Odunze and we're also missing Luther Burden III. We got 49ers and the Lions. He has to average 284 yards a game in order to surpass the 4,000 yard marker. So I just don't think this year's a possibility. Do I think in 2026 that he surpasses 4,000? Yes, I'm actually willing to say going into that 2026 season, I think by the end of the season, he'll be at 4,500 yards, if not more. He's definitely shown he can do it. I just think that this late and needing that amount of yards, and as much as we run the ball and we don't throw a lot of the deep ball, that's going to affect his ability to do it. So I'm going to have to say fool's gold.
You're not wrong, but I'm pushing for it. I'm just trying to speak it into existence,
Right. Nothing wrong with that. All right. After the last few weeks of performance from Drake May, is his chances lessen to be MVP of the league?
Yes.
I'll tell you what, I'm going to say this is a gold statement. This is a gold statement. Last few weeks, his numbers have fallen a little bit compared to his competition as far as for MVP. He no longer leads the league in passing yards. He's fallen to 5th. He's tied for 5th in touchdowns with 23, and he's thrown 7 interceptions. It's still a possibility, I guess, he could get it, but I think that we both have already said it. Matthew Stafford, I think, is the clear front runner and probably will end up winning MVP this season. Do you think it's gold or fool's gold?
It's gold, 100%. Drake May is a good quarterback, but he's not the MVP just yet or ever. We'll see.
All right, let's talk about our games of the week, Eric. What game? I knew when I texted this out what it was going to be for you. That's why I didn't pick it coming out. I always leave it for you, Eric, because you're my favorite Homer Bears fan. What's your game of the week, Eric? And why is it so important?
Well, not only is it to, turn the tide on our rivalry, this is where we turn it around and start winning against the Packers. But, also for that number 1 seed, get into win that division. Bears Packers game is a must win for the Bears. I don't see any other more important game this week.
Yeah, I agree. Definitely a must win game. This is a game that sets a tone for the last 2 games of the season. I think you come out and you beat the Packers, it sets the tone of what you're going to do in San Francisco. It's also going to set the tone for what you do at home against Detroit. Win and you go up a game and a half on the Packers. That's the biggest thing right now, I think. Pretty much 2 games. And it keeps you, depending on what the Lions and Steelers do, it keeps that 2-game cushion also with the Lions going in and facing them the last week of the season. I seriously think that the Steelers can beat the Lions. So if the Steelers beat them, that's a 3-game cushion. If you win, that last game's not as important as it would have been if you lose this game this Saturday. And the biggest thing, Eric, I'm going to tell you, it will shut the mouths of all the non-believers. Moving on to my game, Patriots versus the Ravens, I think is probably one of the most important games. Patriots coming off a loss to the Bills at home after jumping out to a 21-point lead. I think that it's an important game for them to bounce back and prove that they're the best team in the AFC. They're the only game above Bills. And let's face it, the Ravens lose this one, their playoff hopes are dead. So I think that that's the most important game besides the Bears-Packers game, which I was going to give to you anyway. Let's go on to our picks. And right now, as it stands, Justin and I are both tied at 55 and 42. Another kind of a rough week for me last week, 4-3. You and Justin were both 5-2. Eric, you're on the plus side of things now. You're 50 and 47, so that's a bonus, right? That's a good thing. I'll tell you what, Justin was unable to join us. I'm going to give you his real quick, and then Eric can give yours, and then I'll give mine. Justin has a loss to start. He's got the Rams over the Seahawks. He's got the Packers over the Bears. Bad decision. Broncos over the Jags. Steelers over the Lions. Pats over the Ravens. 49ers over the Colts. And his wild card is the Chargers over the Cowgirls. Eric, what's your picks for this week?
Starting off already 1-0. Thank you. Seahawks over the Rams, and then we got the Ravens over the Patriots. We have the Broncos over the Jags. We have the Colts over the 49ers. We have the Lions over the Steelers and the Bears over the Packers. And then my wild card is the Texans.
All right. Well, I started off with a loss. I had the Rams over the Seahawks. Seahawks obviously won in overtime last night. I got the Patriots over the Ravens. I've got the Broncos over the Jags. I've got the Lions over the Steelers, the Bears over the Packers. My wild card is Eagles over the Commanders. And I have the 49ers over the Colts. But I wanted to touch base on a couple things and get your thoughts on something for this Colts and 49ers game. We briefly touched base on it. We were going to talk a little bit more if Justin joined us, but I want to throw out a couple things to you. The Colts are at home facing a team that gave up 136 yards on the ground to a bad Titans team, right? So, I mean, could this mean that it's possible Taylor could have a huge day since that 49ers defense gave up all those yards on the ground to begin with?
Oh, 100%. If you, as the Colts, don't see that and don't take advantage of it with a better offensive line and better running back than the Titans, then obviously your scouting department is skewed. The 49ers are full of injuries, and they've been coached well enough to be able to win games, but they haven't played the caliber of teams that they're going to face here at the end of the season. So I think people are going to take advantage of that, and they're going to be able to show that the 49ers aren't as good as people think they are.
And let's face it, Old Man Rivers didn't have a bad game against Seattle last week.
He almost won the game for them, honestly.
So, I mean, now he's going to have 2 weeks under his belt, and he's going in to play, like you said, a depleted 49ers defense that literally is middle of the road or less in the NFL. Even though I picked the 49ers to win, I think it's going to be a high-scoring game. I think that the Niners are going to win 41-38 is my prediction, but I don't think that it's a cakewalk, and there's always a big possibility they could lose after looking deep into that game.
I agree. It's going to be a good game to watch, but if the 49ers lose, and then I can text Justin, make fun of him. That's going to be great for me.
You know he won't answer you. He won't answer you.
Until the Packers start playing, and then they have a good 1 or 2 good plays, and then he'll message us with something stupid to say. It's fine.
All right. Well, there's our picks and the results, and it's getting towards the end of the season. Let's see who's going to come in last place there. It is getting tighter. So, all right. On to our Power Fives. I'll give mine, and then Eric, you can give yours. All right. At number 5, I have the Bears. They're 10-4. They stopped the Browns. Took back first place in NFC North with a win this Saturday and a loss by the Lions to make the playoffs. And once again, they are going to silence the naysayers. And they are currently holding that second seed in the playoffs. Let's not go from second to seventh again. Let's keep the Packers at that 7th seed, if not worse. At number 4, I've got the Rams now, 11-3. Dropped the 3rd seed after the overtime loss to Seattle. It's a coin flip, I think. Like I said before, who's the home team between Seattle and the Rams? So at number 3, I got Seattle Seahawks at 12-3. Currently first place in their division. They're in the playoffs, obviously. Have the number 1 seed after winning last night. At number 2, I have the Patriots. Even though they lost to the Bills, they still currently own that 2nd seed in the AFC playoffs, and I think it's going to be tough for the Bills to come back to take that division. I think the Pats are playing well, and we'll see how they do in the playoffs. So, and at number 1, I have the Broncos. I mean, their victory over the Packers locked them into the playoffs, but it also put them in the first seed in the AFC playoffs. 4th-ranked defense overall as far as yards allowed. I mean, they faced a tough Packers defense, even though we don't like the Packers. That defense is good, and Parsons didn't leave until 4th quarter. So Bo Nix played fairly well. and I thought the offense did well against a very good defense. So I've got the Broncos at number one. Eric, what's your power five?
I got the Bills at number 5, Bears at number 4, Los Angeles Rams at 3, Seattle Seahawks at 2, and the Broncos at number 1. I just think that New England got that new head coach boost, and I think it's wearing off.
Yeah. Well, I think it's still other teams have to prove they have to beat them, and that's why I had to keep them in that top two. So
I don't disagree, but after that loss to the Bills and that implosion, I'm like,
no, I don't disagree. I mean, I when I seen they were up by 21, I'm like, oh wow, this is gonna be a freaking whooping. And next thing you know, I'm like, here they come. Actually, I think I texted that they were laying the BTA to the Bills, and it
you
was
did,
shortly after
you
that
did.
text it started happening. Maybe I need to do that with the Packers all the time. That'll work,
Right,
right?
right.
So
I mean, who does New England play this? Just right. Oh, Ravens. Yeah, we already talked about that. I
yeah,
mean,
yep.
that's not gonna be an easy game for them.
No,
So
no. Zay Flowers actually was on fire last week, so we'll see if that continues. Maybe Jackson's getting a little more healthier and a little more mobile, so maybe he's getting hot at the right time. Rather than losing in the playoffs, maybe he'll win.
that's the craziest part, though. The teams with winning records they lose to, but now the last 2 games after that's the Jets and Dolphins. So it's hard to argue with people about that when they play the easiest schedule.
Especially when Tua is now out in
Exactly,
Miami. So
exactly. It's weird to me that people. It's fine. We'll see what happens here. They've had close games, but they're able to win the ones when they. I mean, they beat Tampa Bay, but they imploded, and but I think if they lose to the Jets next week, I would that would make my weekend.
yeah. All right, let's get some Bears talk. We're gonna start. We didn't do a post game pod, so let's talk a little bit about that Cleveland where the Bears laid the BTA on them. All right. Obviously, very freaking cold. Didn't start off good because during the pregame warmups, Odunze was ruled out, re-aggravated his foot injury, and was out of the game. Didn't really matter much. I mean, Caleb Williams, 17 of 28, 242 yards, 2 touchdowns, no interceptions. He was sacked 3 times, but had a quarterback rating of 112.5. All right. Quite honestly, Eric, I think, and I realize that it's the Browns, but it's the Browns defense, not the Browns offense that Caleb Williams faced. I think he played the best game as a Chicago Bear that I've seen so far in his first 2 years, first 31 starts. What's your thoughts?
Yeah, I don't disagree with you at all. I thought it was a good game plan going in for what they did, with the weather. They threw the ball more than I thought they were going to. I did say they would win by 10 or more. Remember that. So I was right about that. I didn't think it was going to be 31 to what was it? 3
Neither
was
did I. I had 17 to
31 to 3.
6.
That's how I thought they
So,
would win like by 10, but I'll take it. I mean,
right.
we saw him be able to get comfortable in the pocket. He did get sacked a few more times than he normally does, but that defensive line is still elite with Myles Garrett. And just to see some of that offensive line where chip blocks and just people put their defensive line on skates or just pancake them completely. There's one where it was a comeback with
Jordan Jackson.
Exactly. You're talking with Graham. I mean, that was a beautiful block. I mean, it gets you going when you see plays like that. And I
Do
feel
you
like
think
we can.
Graham as a rookie is going to remember that for the rest of
Oh,
his
100%.
career?
100%. It
So,
either makes you better or you let that eat you
destroys your
alive.
confidence.
Exactly. So hopefully he comes back better. I'm a Graham fan. I liked him out of Michigan. But I think if they can continue that offensive line play and keep it being aggressive, I mean, we can definitely take advantage of the hurt Packers defensive line. But and then that elite throw that he had in the back of the end zone. Everybody said it was, a lucky throw, but I don't think so. I think he's had those kinds of throws and he finally made it this time.
I don't disagree with you. I think that he has the skill to make that throw. Obviously, he made it. Do I want him making that throw nonstop or on a consistent basis? No, it goes against what you're supposed to do as a quarterback. You don't throw across your body, across field. It just opens you up. I mean, he had 3 Cleveland defenders around DJ Moore when he threw that ball. I'm glad he made that throw. If it's a game winning situation where he had to make that throw, I say make that throw. But you also can't take that chance of turning the ball over in the red zone. He is special. He does make special throws. Ben Johnson said he trusts him to make those throws. I just think that you also got to coach to the reality of what the NFL rules tell you and stay within those rules at times.
Rules are lame, Chad. So I disagree. Let that man sling the ball. If he can make the throws, make them.
Swift had 18 rushes for 98 yards, 2 touchdowns. Luther Burden had 6 catches, 84 yards before he hurt his ankle. DJ Moore, nice bounce back game. 4 catches, 69 yards, 2 touchdowns. We're going to need DJ Moore this coming week. I don't know what else to say. I know we got Walker, Zakaris. We're going to rely on our tight ends. We're going to have to for this upcoming game. But going back to the Browns game, our defense showed up, dude. 5 sacks of Sanders. 5 sacks. We forced him to throw 3 interceptions. The biggest number to me out of that whole deal, Eric, is our defense gave up only 192 yards.
I mean, when you got lawn chairs as your offensive line, I mean, it's hard not to look good. To be fair, but I mean, I'm happy that they were able to do that. I mean, if they didn't do that, then they would say a lot about our defensive line. You know, maybe that will give them some positive, thoughts about themselves and go into the Packers and sack Jordan Love 10 times. But, if we can
Big
continue,
possibility with the returning of our linebacker crew.
yeah, exactly. If we can continue to get turnovers, man, our defense is yes, it gives up a lot of yards. We get burnt on deep plays, but we'll make you pay when you make a mistake. So I hope we continue to do that.
Right, absolutely. All right. Speaking of the returning of our linebacker crew, we already touched base a little bit. You want to cover the injury report coming into Saturday night's game against the Packers?
Yeah, I mean, just a big, like we already said, Luther Burton is out, Odunze is out. I could tell you the Green Bay injury report, but there's just too many. There's a lot.
Man.
It,
It's kind of like the Browns last week.
Yeah, like there's a lot of questionable people, but they haven't released their full injury report. So I will not. I'll just say the big ones real quick, just because I don't want to. Their guard, John Williams, is out. Cox is out. Josh Wyatt is out. That's their other tight end. Marshawn Lloyd, their second string running back, is out. But man, those literally.
Yeah, and Jacobs is already banged up.
Yeah, I mean, Christian Watson is questionable. Josh Jacobs is questionable. Devon Wicks is questionable.
Let's be honest, though.
It's just
how long till Christian Watson leaves that game? The first time he goes up for a ball and he takes a hit to his chest, because that's a sternum injury that he faced last week. I mean, it's going to take Byard to come across one time to hit him, and that I don't foresee Watson finishing against the Bears if he does play.
I don't either. He got hurt last time with the year prior, and he tore his ACL with a non-contact injury. That guy's made of glass.
Right. No, I agree with you. Unfortunately for the Packers, he has sustained a lot of injuries, and he's definitely their speed. And you could also see the difference in that Denver Green Bay game after he went out, when they didn't have to account for that speed. This is a big game for the Bears. I mean,
but it's frustrating to me because they're going to use that as an excuse. You know what I mean?
They can't. You can't.
That's what they do, though. That's what happens every time.
Who's them? The players don't.
The Packer
You're talking
fans.
about their fans.
The Packer fans. That's them. I'm not giving them.
I don't hold
credit.
that against their players. Their
the players are great.
Play,
their players will play. I'm talking about the Packer fans. They'll be like, "Oh, you only beat us because they're." That's what's happening.
Stop being a homer. Stop being a homer.
Never.
A lot of people took this personal versus being a positive. Grady came out and said the fans need to show up and show out. I agree with them. The fans there that are going to attend that game, they need to be fucking loud. They need to make sure that they disrupt anything they can when the Packers have the ball. Now, when the Bears have the ball, quiet. But when the Packers have the ball, the Bears fans need to be loud, and they need to make sure that they disrupt any offensive signals that there is. They need to make sure that they're loud. I agree with Grady when he said that earlier this week. Do you disagree?
I don't know how someone can disagree with that. That should be your job as the 11th man.
They took it personal, like the fans don't care.
No,
I
that's just making sure we held them accountable. Players can hold us accountable as fans. I don't disagree with that at all. I mean, don't be a sensitive little B word. You know what I mean?
right.
Well, let's go out there and make it loud.
Yep. How much do you think that Caleb is gonna have to lean on his tight ends this weekend? Because, I
Oh,
mean, with the
yeah.
shortage of wide
Yeah,
receivers.
I would do the over on Loveland and Komet, and then also more on receiving yards. But yeah, I think Swift has a groin too, so he's kind of been messing with that. So I might get the load
Yeah,
this
but
week.
he's had that. It's been
It's just
kinda
a
bothering him
nagging
the
one.
last few
Yeah,
weeks,
yeah. But
yeah.
I mean, if they have to rely on Swift, I'm okay with that. Also, Chad, did you
Yeah.
know that we might have two running backs with 1,000 yards if they keep running the way they are?
That doesn't surprise me at all. I believe in what Ben Johnson's done with our run game. I know we haven't touched base on the yards too much. I know I have looked. Both of them are within the top 15 in the league. Montgomery has less yards than what Monungai has at this point in time. Swift does have less yards, but is in the top 10.
Well,
Uh,
it's Swift with 935 and Manangai was 681. I mean,
right.
so and plus, I mean, both of them have Swift 7 touchdowns, Manangai 5. I mean,
Five. Yep.
that run game is
Yeah.
top tier, baby.
Um, yeah, and remember in previous pods we've talked about how Ben Johnson has brought that whole Sonic and Knuckles plan to Chicago, and we were trying to figure out what they would actually name the other two. I want to leave it Monungai and Swift because
That's
I don't want
fine.
no nicknames. We're not Detroit. We are the Chicago Bears, and that's who we are. Monungai and Swift. You know what I mean? I don't want any kind of characters. Just go out there and play ball out so we can cheer and be happy as fans for the first time in years. So, but yeah, I'm not surprised by that. I didn't look at the yards. I just looked at where they were as far as placement in the league. And I knew that we were pretty good shape when it came to a dual running back situation. They actually mentioned it last night during the game about how the Rams have close to what Detroit and Chicago have with dual running backs. So it's nice that the Bears are getting that respect now.
Yeah, I get pumped. The fact that we went back to what's called the old school football, but it wins, and if it works, I mean, let them stop it. Make
Yeah.
them stop it.
Yep. All right, Eric. The time is now for Caleb Williams to be that guy. And I'm gonna say that guy in quotes, right? No magic. He doesn't need any magic this week, dude. He needs to manage and control the game and be that guy. That guy that is on the field and doing what we've seen when he was in Philadelphia and played the Eagles. Would you agree with that statement?
No, yeah, he has to have what's the best word? Not a breakout game, but just like an elite game where it's just like no other player can be that guy, so people can shut up. I know it's not about the people, but it would be nice to shut people up.
Yeah, but
Um,
they're not going to after that. They're
I know,
not.
but
They won't. I
it's
mean,
most
it's just reality. They're not going to.
when most of the elite pass rushers in the NFL compare your quarterback to two of the MVPs in the NFL with Patrick Mahomes and Jackson, like what does that say about him that people can't see? I just that's my question.
I think when he was talking about that, he was talking about his elusiveness because I am a
Look at the
believer in
throws
Caleb
that he
Williams.
makes. Look
Yeah,
at
but
the
listen,
throws that
I
he
believe
makes.
in Caleb Williams. He is not at the level of Mahomes at this point in time.
No, I'm not saying he just I'm just saying he has Mahomes tendencies where he
Yeah,
is
yeah,
developing and
I
will
don't
continue
disagree.
to make elite throws
But I think this
in
week
that realm.
he needs to leave those tendencies alone, and he needs to be the guy that's out there controlling the offense and managing the offense. We talk about game managers. He almost has to be a game manager going into this game. I feel that if he does that versus trying to force a ball like he did last time against them, we're going to be a successful team and come out with a victory.
I hope so. I just need him to throw over 300 yards.
You know what? I don't need him to throw for over 300 yards. I need him to win this game.
They will,
I need the
Chad.
Bears to win this game.
They will win this game. I have no doubt
So
in my mind.
I don't care if he throws for 120 and we run the ball for 300 yards and pull off a victory. That's what matters to me. I want the Bears to beat the Packers. I'm not interested in their stats at the end of the game. I'm interested in the score. And I got a final score prediction of the Bears winning 31-27. How about you?
I think it's gonna be a touchdown win. It's gonna be 38-31.
All right. Well, we both agree it's going to be kind of a shootout, so probably might want to take the over on the points, right? What is the
I mean,
points?
I was gonna throw down a fat parlay, and that's part of it. Yes, over, lots of overs to make me have lots of money. So let's hope. We'll
Right.
see.
And the weather is going to be favorable for throwing the ball actually because it's not going to be very cold in Chicago
No,
surprisingly.
no, it might. They said maybe light sprinkles, but it's very low chance.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. One other Bears topic here we got to talk about. I know you wanted to bring it up. Thoughts on Kevin Warren's email about their newest location possibility for the new stadium. Eric, you want me to give my take real quick or you want to give
Yeah, go
yours?
ahead.
All right. I think this is a leverage play and it's horrible timing. Um, it's unneeded disturbance to the fans, to the players going into this week in such a big ass game. I think I understand what he's doing, but when you come out and you say that in a week that matters so much on how your team performs, the last thing that the players need to hear is anything about this. And I know they say the players don't listen, they don't read the headlines, they don't do anything. I, I think that's true to some and not true to others, but they all hear it. They all hear it. And nobody wants to hear about them moving to Gary, Indiana or to East Chicago, Indiana. I don't want to hear it. We all know it's going to be in Arlington Heights. I don't know where he's going with this. And Eric, he said he would have shovels in the ground by end of 2025. It's December 19th of 2025 right now. Give the man a deadline if you're ownership and if he doesn't meet that deadline because he can't handle the politics in Illinois, then get somebody that can and get the deal done. That's my feeling.
Yeah, I mean, at first, okay, the more I looked into it, because I was in the same camp, but it's like that's why I hate politics, any kind of politics. Is Illinois is holding the Bears kind of hostage because they think they owe $500 million from the renovation of the Soldier Field, which they've already paid off in the early 2000s, at least their portion, because Illinois said they would cover the rest and they, up the tax and hotels and everything and so on and so forth. But the government of Illinois wants to be like, no, we need more before we let you do anything. So I kind of don't fault him now, Chad, because what is he supposed to do when you're not even allowed to get some kind of break for your taxes or just overall paying for everything? As a business person, I understand why they want to do something. Just as a business organization, not as looking at it as a business, not as a fan. You know what I mean?
Right. I get that, but Eric, let me ask you something. If you're hired to build a new stadium, you take all everything into account when you would do that. You do your homework before you even start, right? You know what you're looking at. You know what the Bears owe for the renovations. You know how long their contracts for. You know how much they owe the educational system in Chicago, which is part of that deal also when you're talking about the tax dollars that has been brought up by the Chicago mayor, but you know this as Kevin Warren. Kevin Warren's done a good job of telling ownership what they needed to do when it came to their GM. Kevin Warren did a good job when it came to telling ownership what they needed to do to have a winning franchise and what they needed to do to hire the coach that they needed. Kevin Warren has done a good job on those bases. But the main reason why Kevin Warren came here was to get the stadium deal done. And I know we've heard that the contracts have been through US Steel. We know that the contracts have been through Pep Construction. You're doing that and then you're threatening to leave that. What is Arlington Heights supposed to do when it comes to taxes? What is Cook County supposed to do when it comes to the taxes? As a business owner, you're going to have to pay your taxes. I get it. Should they avoid the high property tax that they're talking about? That's one of the things they talked about. Does anybody else? I mean, if the people around you are getting that break, then yeah. If those businesses are not, then no, you're no different than the other. And I realize that they're bringing revenue. I realize they're bringing business. I realize that they're bringing people into their community, and the restaurants and stuff like that will all benefit from that stadium being there. But the bottom line is the Chicago Bears are no different than your mom and pop shop that are paying their taxes.
No, yeah, I agree. But it's just the bottom dollar, and that's what they're gonna try to get. And I think Kevin Warren will get it done after going to the Viking Stadium. I hope it's as nice as theirs. I mean, it was great atmosphere, great everything was nice. I mean,
Yeah.
that's what, like 7 years old or 8 years old now. So I think that once it does get done, it will look nice. It's just getting to that point, and maybe us as fans need to slow down and just let it kind of work out. I know it's hard to say that, but if we hurry the deal or hurry the overall thing, maybe we won't get the best outcome that we should get.
Right. What is the Chicago Bears' current contract with Soldier Field in the Park District? Do you know how long that goes till?
I don't know the complete details of it.
All right. The Chicago Bears are in contract with the Chicago Park District for Soldier Field through 2033.
I was
So
completely wrong
essentially
then. They're
seven
there
more
for
years
yeah.
is what they're under contract for. So that may be part of what is holding up those dollar amounts and why the city is saying that they owe them that much money. Ultimately, it'll come down, I'm sure, to the city lawyers, the Bears lawyers.
I'm annoyed with the Chicago fans that are like, the Chicago Bears need to stay in Chicago. Most of these high end, look at Dallas, look at what
The
Indian
Giants, the Jets,
Giants, Jets, Patriots.
Bills.
Like, you guys need to stop thinking of it like that. Okay, I understand Chicago, especially in that area, is beautiful. It's nice, but there's no space. Where are you gonna build it? Where's this magical land gonna come from? Okay,
Yeah, and
guys.
who do you have to fight in order
Exactly.
to be able to build?
Exactly.
I
There's
mean,
not gonna
yeah,
work out. I'm sorry. There's not enough land. There's not enough, like, just overall space.
right.
If you go to Arlington's, it's gonna be Chicagoland. That whole area will have hotels, casinos, restaurants. It's
Yeah,
gonna be crazy. I don't know why people can just
right. And the
it's
businesses are going to benefit from it. Like I said, I
exactly,
mean,
like, if it's
the
I
revenue it's
would
going to
like
turn
it
is
to
going to
stay
be
in
great.
Illinois, but it's the same distance regardless from Illinois, or if it were to happen in Indiana. I understand Indiana has, like, the 31st less taxes, and Illinois has the second highest taxes. I get that. I get it. I would like it to stay in Illinois, but at the end of the day, I just want a good product where I can go see my team, okay? Like,
They'll always be the Chicago Bears.
exactly. It's just what it is,
Yes.
and people getting mad because they're not saying that Chicago is short-minded and stupid. I'm sorry. You can
Right.
hate me for that statement.
All right, Eric, going into week 16, what are your final thoughts on this pod?
Uh, we will win tomorrow. We keep getting put on primetime games, so I love that for us. Other thing that I love is the fact that it will be Christmas soon. So I hope everybody be safe. Hopefully you get to see your family and everybody stays warm. It's cold out here. It sucks. No UFC for the next 6 weeks, Chad? Is
Yeah.
it 6
Yeah,
weeks?
roughly.
Makes me sad. Other than that, we appreciate everybody. Hopefully we'll get a Bears win and we'll see you in the post game. Other than that, have a good holidays, guys, if we don't see you here soon.
All right, everybody. Thank you for listening. We started this back in April of 2024, and we keep having fun with it and keep growing. Please subscribe to our channel on YouTube. Everybody have a Merry Christmas or Happy Holidays or however you may celebrate it. We will have a podcast after Christmas holiday. Go Bears. Be kind to each other. We're out. Peace.